Hi, Emily. Thanks for the submission. Everything's looking pretty good. So let's talk about things that are like kind of catching my eye, you know? But I think this is looking strong. I think you're in a good spot. So I'm going to identify some keyframes just so I can jump between them when I do the drawings. All right, so what's that blue foot back? So I kind of want to, where red foot is back. All right, I'm going to keep going. Blue foot back, blue foot back. All right, cool. That's the full cycle. Let me ditch this. Let me do a little brackety thing here. So now we're looking at just one cycle. All right, cool. One of the things I want you to pay attention to, I think if you hit these notes, it'll be fine to move forward with doing the breakdowns in between. But I did notice there's fewer frames between your first two poses than between the rest of your poses. I like where the rest of your poses are, so I would just add like a +1 frame between this pose and the next pose. Like slide all your other poses over to the right one frame just so that there's more uniformity in your pose timings. Okay, so then after that, I'm going to take a look at the height of your pelvis because I still feel like there's a point where it takes a massive dip and it's not doing exactly what we want it to be doing. And I'm starting to suspect perhaps why. All right, so check out. I know there's like these little square boxes here to do fine-tune adjustments to the hip. I don't know if you're using those. If you are, I would advise you not to. Like set these to 0 on all the poses, like 0 that stuff out. Because that might be part of what's going on. But let's take a look at ghosting here, and we'll look at the height of, so we can kind of see how the different frames compare to each other, right? Using ghosting here. So this one is our starting one here, and it goes down here, which is fine. But then it zooms up in one pose, and then it kind of hangs out here, and then it zooms back down here, and then goes down here. So I think what is happening is because of that, when we watch it play, maybe it's just the amount. Okay, let me gather my thoughts on this exactly. I'm probably overcomplicating the explanation. I feel like this may be a little too low, right? So what I would suggest you do on this is you pull this up enough to where this leg gets kind of almost straight or straight. I like this toe pose and this foot pose. I think that is bang on. But what that's going to do is it's going to overextend this blue foot when you raise this center of gravity up a little bit. And in order to compensate for that, I think I would try to bend the foot a little bit more if you can without it like collapsing. And then I think I would also just see if that works. See if you can get the geometry to kind of look like this. I know in drawings it's like things don't maintain the same length and all that. But see if you can raise it up a little bit till this leg's straight and this leg gets a little bit of a bend in it. And if you can't, maybe both feet need to be moved in this direction to kind of make it work a little bit like that. Because I think this down is a little bit too down. So I kind of want to encourage you to do this up a little bit more as well. Because, and I think I'm reading that mostly from the angle of this leg bend. I feel like if I were to try to walk like this in real life, it would take an incredible amount of muscle from my quads to keep my leg from like buckling, and I would be really sad. And I think trying to get this leg a little bit more straight by lifting up on the center of gravity. I mean, again, your instinct is good to go down from here. That's where it was, and now it's going down here. I feel like you do want the pelvis to go down. So that is the right thing. But maybe also if you rotate this pelvis, this is pretty extreme, but if you rotate the pelvis a little bit up when the weight starts, I think as soon as the contact pose happens, it can start rotating up this way. Maybe here it's like rotated even more. So I probably want to back off of this. Again, my drawings are terrible, and I'm not trying to say do exactly what my drawings do. I'm just using them as a communication tool. But yeah, I would try to get this leg a little bit straighter. Not straight. There should be a bend in it. You know what I mean? But this feels pretty extreme bent to me, and the down feels pretty extreme down. So just see if you can adjust that before you go into your breakdowns. You know what I mean? Okay, so here, this pose, I think this pose should be your highest, like where you are highest. And I would adjust this center of gravity up to where this leg is almost straight. You know what I mean? Here. I think that will serve you well. And then this next pose here, it should be down lower, right? Because nothing's gonna push this pelvis up as high as a total straight leg that's supporting it. So by here, you know, because of triangles and everything, how it works, this leg would be taller straight down here than it's going to be over here. So I feel like the pelvis needs to come down a little bit. That'll also make this leg a little less than totally straight, and I think that that's good, because like this, like I said, like I want to feel like a tiny little bend in that knee there, and this bend is pretty extreme here. So I would keep this foot bent like at the toe, but keep it kind of like planted, and see if that helps straighten out this leg a little bit while this leg is straight-ish. It's all straight-ish when I say straight. It doesn't have to be totally straight. And so the same note applies to this half of the cycle with the pelvis height as this half of the cycle. And then one other thing too, as we really want to get some more side to side from the front view. Like if I watch it play, there's not a lot of side to side happening. So maybe that can be emphasized more. So when the weight's totally on this leg, you know, it should probably be a little bit more like this with the pelvis up, right? Because all of the weight of this character is going to be on that leg there. And you may have to, like, you know, make sure the character feels like more or less balanced by tipping the shoulders opposite the way that the pelvis is tipped. And then the same thing's going to happen here, like when you plant the weight here, that's when, you know, it should be kind of over this leg, the weight. So then that'll give you a little bit of like side to side motion. And of course you're gonna have to, like, in between that motion on your other poses to make sure that it's like it's playing nicely, going back and forth and all that. Yeah. So I'm feeling the drag that you have in the arms. I'd love to see it, especially on this red arm coming forward, and this from here to here, you know, increasing the bend angle on that elbow really gives you the feeling of overlap, and you're also doing it on the wrist, which is nice. But I think that, you know, the elbow here, this angle is kind of the same here, and then you go totally straight. And I don't mind the total straight, but I think you need to start straightening that elbow in this pose, you know. So here it's bent, And here it's somewhere between the bent and the total straight arm, and that probably is true on both sides. Yeah, there's something happening with your head in the front view. Like here it's totally straight up and down, and here it starts to tip to the right, and then it goes straight again, and it tips over to the right. So I never really see it tip back over to the left. If you're tipping it on purpose, it should probably have an equal partner on the left tip as the right tip, or maybe that was just an accident and you want to get it kind of straightened out, but it's a minor thing. I see what you're doing on dragging the head here, right? But maybe when the character goes down, like if this is the angle here, when the character goes down, it feels like it's rotating forward. And I would suggest delaying that rotate forward. Where did my mark go? Where did it go? Okay, here. Wait a minute, I was going backwards. Let me clarify. So here, you know, when the body goes down, I would tip the chin up a little, ever so slightly. So it's tipped back. It's like the head has mass and inertia. And then here, maybe it starts to rotate back down, whatever feels good. But then here, when it comes up, it should be like dragging almost the other way. It should, you know, rotate forward until here, which it kind of rotates back into this pose where you have it. And then, you know, rinse and repeat kind of thing as you go up and down, maybe just a little bit more drag and stuff on the head, but I like that you have animation on it. I'm really feeling it. And it's good attention to detail. Yeah, so I would say if you hit those notes and make those adjustments, you should feel free to start working on your breakdowns in between these poses like I showed. And if you forgot, I can always show again. Just give me an email or something. We can have quick office hours if you would like, or if you feel like you're in a good spot, then just go ahead. But yeah, hit these notes first, and then work on your breakdowns for next week. All right. Yeah, but great stuff. Thanks. I'll see you next week.